Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the English news for tonight. Here are the headlines. The head of state sent a message of congratulations to his French counterpart for the occasions of 4th of July. Djibouti Free Zone rejected and founded accusations of DP World, specifying that openness from DIFZF will be a great investment opportunity for continental in Pakistan deadly attack during an election rally. That were our headlines for tonight. Let's get to the details. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, sent a congratulation message today to his French counterpart, Mr. Emmanuel Macron, who is celebrating the anniversary of the national holiday. In his message, the head of state wishes success to Mr. Macron in the conduct of the affairs of his country, from the wishes of greater development, prosperity and fulfillment to the French friend people. We are all the more proud in Djibouti to join us in the festivities of July 14 that would fully adhere the ideas of this anniversary, wrote the President. More than just a friend national heritage, July 14 is the triumph of freedom around the world, and its respect makes France a homeland friend and linked with Djibouti by culture, language and history, the country of the right of the man and the soul, origination from the abolitions of privileges, continued the President of the Republic. Be sure, Mr. President, that you will always find with the government and the people of Djibouti all the assistance needed to strengthen the ties already exceptional and privileged between our two countries and our two people, including the head of Djiboutian state. It must of the July 14, the big military parade was held this Saturday in the morning on the Champs-Élysées in Paris. He is the one who traditionally begins the festivities of this national holiday on the theme of fraternity. The military ceremony honored this year the victims of hurricanes Irma and Maria. More than 40,200 men came to the pavement of the most beautiful avenue in the world. But not only Alpha jets of the Battle of France, helicopters and motorized vehicles were also invited to make the show. The 14th of July Paris was, however, marked by the many fireworks of 14th July, which will close the festivities, including the Champ de Mars Festival, the third of the foot of the Eiffel Tower. Contrary to the unfounded claims made yesterday by DP World, the opening of Djibouti International Free Trade Zone is fully in line with international laws and standards. The opening of DIFTZ does not violate DP World's contractual right in any way. Abu Bakr Umar Hadi, chairman of DP World and Free Zone, said DP World and Trade Zone deeply regret that repeated misleading comments from DP World. DP World seems to be engaged in a sustained by a futile campaign to misrepresent the fact. DP World's stubborn behavior and attitude towards Djibouti, including its attempt at rent-seeking in regard to the operation of Dorali container terminal, has had no place on the African continent since the end of colonization. It should be recalled that DP World did not exist outside of Dubai before this agreement with Djibouti in 2000, which was the first deal outside of its home territory. Dubai Port International was only created at that time, whereas Djibouti has been managing port for many years due to its highly strategic location and long history as a maritime nation. DPFZA continues to develop a world-class trade and logistic hub thanks to long-standing links with major international businesses. Djibouti remains committed to undertaking fair businesses partnership with the companies from around the world. The recent opening of DP International World for Trade Zone shows Djibouti is becoming a landing investment destination in Africa and for Africa. The campaign of cleaning and cleanliness by the party RPP are continuing in the different quarters of the capital. These actions carried out in the field are part of the party's agenda as part of a vast policy of civic awareness and awareness on improving the living environment of the population. And then this morning, several actions of garbage collection were launched in the different popular districts of the city Djibouti by the Secretary General of the party, His Excellency Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dawali, in the presence of members of the committee of RPP, the young people as well as residents and activities from each neighborhood. The RPP party laid this morning a large-scale community action in 3 neighborhoods of the capital. This is the District 1 and 2 as well as the District 6. This community action saw the participation of the top RPP leaders, including the Secretary General, Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dawali, and the various persons in charge of RPP absences of these 3 districts. The Secretary General of this party, Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dawali, welcomed the clean-up operation and he praised the courage and determination of the participants in this desire to protect the environment in which they live. As part of this clean campaign, the Secretary General of the party, Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dawali, went on an inspection tour to certain neighborhoods such as 1, 2, as well as 6 to supervise the community action. He appreciated the commitment and enthusiasm of the participating in the cleanliness work in the neighborhoods. He thanked all participants in this community action, including the population of 3 neighborhoods and the element of the gendarme and the national police. He also congratulated the technician on the surface of the road who do a great job for the cleanliness for the city, but it's imperative to support their action by organizing a community action in each neighborhood. The Teacher Training Center for Basic Education hosted a closing ceremony for a training on result-based management for school heads. This training is part of the capacity building of the staff of the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training. Secretary General Mohammed Abdullah Mahyoub, accompanied by technical advisor and general manager, presided over the closing ceremony. The ceremony was attended by Minister Usman Ibrahim's technical advisor, Mr. Abdi Direr, and other senior MINFOB officials, as well as inspector and school heads. This training allowed school leaders to be equipped with the management of settlement projects to better align planning, monitoring and evaluations activity with the expected results. The Secretary General indicated in his speech that the first stone to be laid in the construction of an efficient system is the reinforcement of the skill of human resource. Then he stressed that the theme of this training is the management of institution care, which is why we must build a culture and accountability while knowing the objective to achieve it. After the graduation ceremony for participating in training on result-based management, we gathered the comments of international consult expert who lead the training session at CFEE. He expressed his satisfaction with the smooth running of the training and encouraged the interested parties to continue their efforts. This vulnerable category of retirees receive pension from home-based pension. They also benefit from on-site medical consultation. These benefits, launched at the end of 2017 by the CNSS, are are of great benefit to beneficiary. This team of CNSS composed of swarm controller and cashier to pay pension, as well as a doctor and a nurse to establish diagnostic on the state of health of these bedridden. Under a blazing sun, the crisscrossed the capital from district to neighborhood to visit the pensioner bedridden. In Sheikh Musa, the Sabra of Balbala, they go from house to house to pay the pension for the second quarter of the year 2008. They also provide medical consultation to bedridden patients to monitor their health. The objective of this unprecedented operation of the CNS is to reinforce a policy of proximity in favor of these affiliated to fragile health. In a short speech, one of the women who showed her joy before that, she said, "Before that it was a nightmare. I had to look for a taxi because I cannot take the bus." Arrival at the CNISS, I waited a long time in front of counter. It's really a huge service. Not only do I get my retirement, but also I'm examined by a doctor from his side. A wise man from the neighborhood affirmed that the population is very touched by this noble and entirely interested. He expressed his thanks to the team of SNSS and its management for this social services. Member of Asajuk diaspora living in Europe still traveled to Ali Sabih, their hometown, last Thursday morning to establish fearful contact with the benefits of the local population. On the morning of Thursday, when they arrived in Asker, they were received by the prefect of the region, Mohammed Wabri Asowi, and the president of the regional council, Mr. Umar Ahmed, where they could discuss with the continent of the objective of their stay in the region. At the end of the discussion, the latter introduced them into the great meeting room of the place, from which Asajuks of all age and all social categories are present. Acclaimed and loudly applauded, the sons of daughters, the city of Asker were warmly welcomed among their fellow citizens. By speaking first, the president of the regional council presented one by one the children of the region who had previously gone to live in Belgium, Sweden, France, as well as England. In turn, the members of the Asajuk diaspora living in Europe explained their intention to make themselves useful for their nation and especially for their region. The goal thought through this multiple personal connection is to develop an active and pragmatic solidarity between living Asajuk still in the country and those settled outside of it. The prefect of the region, Mr. Mohammed Wabri Asowi, is delighted the visit of the diaspora Asajuk in their native region. The diaspora members were able to establish fruitful contacts and exchange ways and mean to participate the development effort of the Asajuk region with the participations of the diaspora. The prefect congratulated the members of diaspora for their wish to get involved in the development of the nation and especially region of Asajuk. The goal pursued through these multiple personal connection is to develop an active and pragmatic solidarity between Asajuk living in the country and those living outside it. A support ceremony organized at the Guled Stadium for the Djiboutian delegation who will participate in the third edition of the African Youth Games held in Algeria. The State Secretary of Youth and Sport, in close collaboration with the National Olympic and Sport Committee of Djibouti and the Football Federation, organized last night at the Guled Stadium a meeting with the Djiboutian delegation to take part in the third edition's Africa Games of Africa Youth. This meeting, chaired by the President of Olympic Committee, Mrs. Asha Garad, and the Sport Director of the State Secretary of Youth and Sport, Mr. Abshir Hassan, as well as the Vice President of the Federation, Mr. Mohammed Yassin, was the opportunity for this official to provide advice to the Djiboutian delegation composed for 42 athletes from the following disciplines: football, taekwondo, table tennis, judo, karate athletes, and dozen technical staff to defend the color of the national flag during the stay on Algerian soil. The third edition of the African Games will bring together 9 African countries: Algeria, Morocco, Libya, Cameroon, and Congo, Kenya, Nigeria, as well as Djibouti. The president of the National Olympic Sport Committee of Djibouti, Mrs. Asha Garad, with her experience in this area, encouraged young people to give the best of them to win victories and honor the country. After that, she thanked the parents for their trust and support to succeed this competition. She finally thanked the Secretary of State of Youth and Sport, His Excellency Hassan Mohammed, for his effort to promote and develop youth people. The management and all the staff of Salam Africa Bank have a great regret to announce the public and its friendly customer the death of General Manager Mr. Noor Abdi Mohammed. The deceased died yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock local time at the Piltier General Hospital of the Republic. The mortuary prayer will be held Sunday evening after the Isha prayer at the Salam Mosque. And now let's move to international scene. Suicide bomber killed 132 people at an election rally in southern Pakistan in the second election-related attack on Friday. For more, let's follow in this report.
It was the most deadly attack in Pakistan in over 3 years, and it's the third incident of elections-related violence this week. It comes as Pakistan's caretaker government launched a crackdown on political gatherings. Sharif, who was ousted by the Supreme Court last year and convicted in absence of corruption a week ago, arrived in the country to rally his support ahead of the general elections. Balochistan's Home Minister Anglais Omer Balugze told Reuters that the death toll in the attack had risen to 132 people, with over 150 wounded. Senior police official Kame Lashari had earlier said that more than 1,000 people were attendance at the rally in the town of Mustang of the violence-plagued province of Balochistan. Islamist militant linked to the Taliban, Al-Qaeda and Islamic State have been operating in the province, which borders Iran as well as Afghanistan. It also has a dangerous ethnic Palestinian insurgency fighting the central government. Islamic State claims responsibility for attack. The group provided no further detail or evidence for its claim.
Israel's military renewed airstrikes targeting Hamas in the Gaza Strip on Saturday afternoon following border clash in which 2 Palestinians, including a teenager, were killed and hundreds injured.
The army said it was currently striking terror targets in Gaza Strip without giving further details, following an assault on the territory earlier in the day. According to the Palestinian security source and witness, Fatah jet strike Hamas target without causing any injury. The Israel bombardment came as rocket and mortar were lobbed into southern Israel from the blockaded Palestinian enclave. The escalated followed further protests on the Gaza border on Friday, in which 2 Palestinians were killed and more than 220 injured, according to the health ministry in the Hamas rain strip.
The English news for tonight. Thank you for watching us. Have a good night.